By the end of Venom Let There Be Carnage, we learned that Venom is now in the MCU. This has been confirmed by Sony execs and even Marvel Studios' own Kevin Feige. But as we recently learned, this could have been very different, aka we almost just got Spider-Man to get dropped into the Venom universe. No real explanation or anything, just he's here now. Do something with him. Yeah, that checks out as a Sony thing. So this goes all the way back to the fallout after Spider-Man Far From Home, where Sony and Disney and Marvel Studios were fighting over what to do with Spider-Man, and he was removed from the MCU. We know, because we've learned through the directors and people confirming it, there was the plan, and they were very much going to include Spider-Man in Venom Let There Be Carnage. He was going to have a complete story arc and everything. Well, how exactly would that have worked? What was the idea? What were they going to do? How were they going to explain it? Who came up with this? Well, Tom Holland revealed to Empire Magazine that he came up with this idea. After the news hit, he drove to Amy Pascal's house, and they hung out together. They kept talking about stuff, and he was coming up with ideas and pitches for how to keep playing Spider-Man, because obviously he didn't know what was happening. Was he still going to be Spider-Man? It was a very uncertain time. And he said that he was sitting there and he was discussing ideas and talking to her about it and saying, well, what do we do here now? What if just Peter falls through a portal? And what if he's now in Venom's world? Or what if we do a Kraven the Hunter film and the same thing happens? Or Kraven is hunting Peter now, and that's sort of the direction of the next film that we do, and we don't have to mention anything in the MCU. And yeah, this makes sense. I mean, Tom learned the same time we did that he was no longer in the MCU, that he might not even be Spider-Man. We didn't know what the details were, what was going on, how and who was involved, so his world came crashing down. He explained this because he just sat there and started crying when he heard the news. Again, he went to Pascal and was like, well, I want to keep playing Spider-Man. You guys have Venom over here. What if we just drop me into it? A portal opens and I'm now in this world. You can kind of sort of hint towards what happens. Be like, oh, something happened and now I'm here. But luckily here, nobody knows my identity. Oh, hey, Venom, let's fight each other. Again, you see what they were going for. It's corporate business. They were just moving as you do. Something changes, you go, well, we'll adapt to this and we'll move on to the next step, and whatever happens next happens. And I appreciate that. Like we said before, Sony, they wanted to do something with Spider-Man. They outright said, hey, look, Spider-Man is ours again. We're going to do something with him. And that's when they started teasing everything. So we know up until the new contract was formed, Venom versus Carnage was going to feature Spider-Man as a supporting role, because that was the idea. He was just going to get dropped in there. It's like, all right, you're part of this universe now. Oh, okay, I'll see what we can do. Luckily, they struck that new deal, and now I would say, I know some people will disagree, it's better to have Venom in the MCU than to have Spider-Man removed from the MCU into the Venomverse, where at any given day, it could all come crashing down and end because Sony might get bought or they change with the wind. So I think it's worked out pretty good.